Welcome to Shedding the Shame. I'm your host, Tammy Wong. This is where women stop whispering about the hard things. No performing, no fixing, no pretending we're fine. Just honest conversations about what we've carried, what it cost us, and how we rebuilt. You don't need a perfect story. You just need the courage to tell the truth. You are not broken. You are not dramatic, and you are not alone. Let's shed the shame. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Shedding the Shame. I'm here today with Brittney Ashley. We met recently through a local group that we're in, and she is the founder and lead strategist of Creative Dynamics Virtual Services, an award-winning neurodivergent founder with ADHD and dyslexia, and a certified business coach, certified imposter syndrome coach, which I love that, and trauma-informed money practitioner. She supports founders with a whole business ecosystem approach, blending neurodivergent friendly operations strategy and sustainable systems so growth feels clear, supported, and human. And I'm feeling very human with my inability to talk today. So thank you. For those of you listening, I restarted this 3 times because my brain and my eyes are not coordinating with reading today. So thank you for your patience, Brittney, and thank you for being here with me today.
No, amazing. I'm so excited to be here with you today, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So before we get into some of the bigger questions, I'd just love to know, when you submitted your intake form, we hadn't met really at all. We didn't know each other at all. So what kind of prompted you to want to speak today?
Well, it's like a combo of things. Where does one start? But overall, I think we as humans put a lot of pressure on ourselves as moms, as from very young age, like I mentioned to you about imposter syndrome, it can show up as young as age 6, and then into adulthood. So overall, like I think it's like peeling back the layers, the onions that I have like kind of like always hid behind like the curtains sometimes. I'm always super quiet, and some people are like, "Oh, she doesn't like me." It's like, no. I'm just naturally like a quiet person, introvert, extrovert person. I like to assess the scenes, but like I've been through a lot and I don't like to share a lot, but like I will get into it, but I have dyslexia. I have self-diagnosed with ADHD because you'll be coming on my radio show. Randomly, the ADHD researcher diagnosed me. I was like, who needs to go to the full process?
Yeah, you got the legit researcher. You're good.
Right? But I have been diagnosed with dyslexia. With that, like that comes with when you don't really understand when you're young, that does come with a lot of shame. And so growing up, it's like, how do I step more full into my full potential? And I don't think growing up, or even to this day, like I've really met somebody who has dyslexia. And so it's me wanting to open up about it, talk about my struggles, and talk about how we as employers, if you are an employer, how you make safe spaces for those who are neurodivergent from ADHD to dyslexia or anything underneath the sun. I'm just like such an advocate now and learning to step more into my own voice, really. And usually I would be like super like quiet, shy, cry behind the scenes kind of person. But I'm learning to step more into my voice as I've been like learning more about myself. And I just want to know that everyone out there listening who feels like they're alone, they're not.
Yeah, that's so important. And I love that you are taking your own personal struggles and turning it into something positive for yourself and for other people. I resonate with that and what I'm trying to do with my hair loss. And I know personally it's brought me a lot of purpose and been very rewarding. So I can imagine that when you're working with people, it can feel really healing in a way for yourself, right?
Absolutely. It fills the cup. That's why I love the radio show. I love bringing different diverse individuals onto the show and just listening to like what you're doing, listening to their journey, listening to what they've overcome, talking about societal norms, and just making sure that there's those airwaves for people to listen to and really tap into things that sometimes some people don't want to share about.
Totally. All right. Well, I think that was a great intro. Let's get into it. So you've said imposter syndrome is a daily practice for you, not something you've necessarily beaten. So what does that actually look like in your real everyday life?
Prime example. I was like, I have like all my notes here to make sure I stay focused. But I was like, you know what? Talk about what you just been asked do. So in the next 2 weeks, I've been asked to be on a panel, an AI panel, to talk about how we do AI in business and all these things. And I am panicking. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie. True imposter syndrome is coming to the forefront. And if those who don't know what imposter syndrome is overall that we feel like we're not competent enough to be in the room of everybody else. And I've done so many speaking events. I've done different panels throughout my lifetime now. I feel like, well, why can't I do this one? You've been asked for a reason, but my imposter syndrome right now is spiraling. And apparently CBC radio is coming to talk to the panelists and all these other things. So my imposter syndrome is full-fledged, like pedal to the metal kind of person, because imposter syndrome, it affects a lot of people who has high goals for themselves. It really does affect those who are neurodivergent as well. Especially there's some other factors laying down there too. We'll get into one of the questions, but I was really labeled dumb as a young kid. So all those layers, it creeps up when you least expect it. I was like, oh yeah, rocking it. Then all of a sudden I got asked this and I almost backed out. And my girlfriend was like, say yes. And I was like, I don't want to say yes.
It's scary. I don't want to.
This is scary. And she's like, you work with individuals a lot and how we can, not just on the business plan, but how we can build AI. So it's like, you have some knowledge, but imposter syndrome too, like there's different mechanisms of being a perfectionist. I am a true perfectionist. I'm a working perfectionist of not trying to be perfect. And then I'm also an expert, which means I need to have all these certifications before I allow myself to step into my true potential. And so these two battle each other, and I'm battling myself with this piece. And it's like, okay, Brittney, deep breaths. And how do you shift your mindset that you're capable to be in the room with all these other amazing panelists as well? So it does show up daily, sometimes more than others because it's making me high visible, really. The panel, all the things are happening, and I don't want to look stupid.
Right. I appreciate you sharing that and the vulnerability to share that. I think especially a lot of women feel that if they start to take up more space and be an entrepreneur and do something outside the mold. I definitely feel that even with this podcast, as an example, I was like, who am I to start a podcast? I'm no one. I'm not famous. I'm not a household name. Who's going to care what I have to say? But I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to do it anyway because I have experiences and I know other women do, and I'm going to provide a place. But still, I'll put it out and I'm like, who's going to listen to this? So I totally get it. And it's really hard not to get in your head. And I mean, knowing the little I know about you, I mean, you have won awards. You are definitely someone who knows what they're talking about. And if CBC asked you to be on this panel, you deserve to be there. But I also totally understand the panicking and the freaking out and the spiraling. So
it's hard.
I'm excited for you. And I get it. And you'll be awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you just mentioned about being labeled dumb. So you were labeled dumb growing up. How did that shape your identity and the way you show up now as a woman, a mom, and a business owner?
I would say that's a big one because I don't think any kid should be labeled dumb. I'm such an advocate to get early assessments for kids. It's not to quote unquote label them dumb. Unfortunately, we still live in a systematic world that the school is so structured in a way that is so old school. It doesn't allow us to fully step into our true being and expand the way that we want to think or logic things differently. Quick story is that I remember that they actually put it on my report cards. I was on my way to high school and I was in calculus class and
I hate calculus.
I got 2 B's. If Mr. Materi, I still remember the name.
Yeah, of course you do. Yes.
If listening to this now down the road, like, excuse me, I've passed. And I have all my degrees and all the things and some. But he put on my kind of like, I guess, report card or whatever file that Brittney is too dumb and she should be in essentials learning. And how
old were you when he put that?
So middle school was like classified. So maybe What would you be? I don't know. The grades keep changing. I
I
can't keep
know.
up.
Well, for me, it was like 7 to 9, but that's different now. So you were probably 12 to 14
Exactly.
ish.
Which is like labeling a kid that young who's still trying to figure out, you're trying to figure out yourself, trying to figure out school. You're trying to probably going through puberty. I can't even say that word.
Puberty.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Trying to do all these things and just survive. And then you go into high school, and I literally was put in calculus. And I remember this day, they came and pulled me out of class to be like, hey, Brittney, you're not supposed to be here because of X, Y, and Z. So we want to know if you want to stay in calculus or we move you into essential math. And I remember being like, kind of thrown back, taken back. Well, one, this is awkward. I got pulled.
Yeah. And to put you on the spot as a kid in front of your peers.
Exactly. So it was like a combo effect. This is why I say that there's some really good teachers and really good EAs out there. Mrs. Peru, I remember her. So I remember all these names that really
I remember too, yeah.
or really set you back. She's like, Brittney can stay in this class. I will help her if she's willing to be here. And I was like, absolutely. And I worked my butt off. And that's the one thing you need to know about me is that I'm so resilient. When somebody tells me Brittney can't do it, I'm going to show you how I can do it 300 times more.
Yep.
So going back to this whole imposter thing and struggling with the panel thing, the other piece of Brittney is like, you can do it and we're going to rock it because you deserve to be there. So it's like the resilience and the mindset and switching and really stepping into it. So that piece, that moment, I would say kind of shaped me in a way of understanding resilience and really understanding the negative notions that a lot of people talk like put you in a box.
Yeah.
And no one's allowed to be put in a box. And that's something that I'm such a big advocate too for kids. My 2 kids have been through different assessments because I just know how the school system is. You have sometimes really good principals, really good teachers, but there's sometimes that one person like Mr. Materi that classifies you as dumb is not good enough. And I could have went either way, right? But I chose the way to be like, screw you.
Yeah.
On the up and up. And one day I will like, oh, you. And this isn't just the definition of one teacher. I've seen it in elementary school. I've seen it in middle school, high school. And then I just remember that moment because it was probably the most embarrassing moment in my life. But I do even remember in university when I was getting my degree in marketing communications. I won't say the name, but she pretty much pushed back saying that I wasn't allowed to be in class because I have dyslexia. And so that's a big thing for me. How do we learn to advocate for ourselves? Especially, like I mentioned, I'm super shy. I don't like confrontation. I kind of hide underneath. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But when that moment happened, I was like, no, that's not right.
Good for you.
And so I went and talked to the board to like, this is what happened. You should be providing the means for either me or anybody else who has a learning disability in this classroom.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, long story short, I think being labeled as dumb, I think it's part of my passion. Like, anyone has that area to be there. No one is dumb.
Yeah. I feel that passion from you, and it's making me angry listening to you talk about this. Okay, Mr. Materi shouldn't be a teacher. Shouldn't have been a teacher, because anyone who's going to write someone is their student is dumb on a report card, that's a horrible teacher. That should never be allowed. That should have been flagged that was even written, because of course, as a impressionable teen, that's going to hit you hard. It's, how are you going to feel like you're to defend yourself when you're taught to be respectful of your teachers? It's it's an adult. You're not, like, there's so many power dynamics there that that's so inappropriate. And we love Miss Peru. Miss Peru?
Miss Peru, yeah.
Good for her. Because teachers are there to encourage children and uplift them and support them. And if they're having difficulties, to flag that so they can get more support, not to label them and put them down.
100%. And I think anyone, because we do have essentials math still probably. This is why I say that they're still in the old school system. Essentials math and calculus, if you provide the means to people, and this is why I was just having this conversation with somebody that I actually was going back. I was listening to a lot of Harvard studies right now, actually, on AI. And this one kid it sounds like 12, who was struggling with learning math. And so what he did was create AI Cloud Code to create ways on animation to learn math. And now he's
Cool.
excelling. So that's why I'm excited for AI, because what can it do for those who have learning
Yeah.
disabilities or all these other things that we can maximize on to build a really support system for people to excel.
And there's different types of intelligence, right? And being aware of that too. I mean, just there's different ways that people learn. And God, if any teacher ever did that to my kids, I would be real mad. It would not be cute. Mama Bear would come out hard.
Yes. I know my mom was like Mama Bear. I know she was. She
Yeah,
was a really good advocate for
that's
myself.
good.
So
I'm
I
glad you
had
had that.
a really good mom to advocate for those kind of things for me because I was super quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really understand. Like, I felt like it was just a little bit slow sometimes to process things. And it wasn't that I was dumb. It was just I took a little time.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
By the way, Mr. Materi apparently is not a teacher anymore.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Like,
No more future generations impacted by
yeah.
that. Insensitive. I'll keep my name to myself.
Yeah.
How do ADHD and dyslexia show up for you today, and how have they impacted your experience of motherhood and work?
Yeah. So I'm a true visionary. The one thing I tell everybody is if you come to me with your dream, I'm like, yes, I see it. Let's do it. And then I think of ways to think of curating processes and systems to build it. So even if you're a sole prop, you shouldn't be working 9 to 5, 100 hours a minute. Let's create a system that really supports you. So I'll give you an example as me. I started this business 8 years ago with my daughter who was 8 months. And I knew I couldn't answer the phone 24/7 once I made a website live. So I made the intake form and I made different funnels and different ways for it to like notify me if it was like an actual lead that could turn into a really great client, and versus me stopping what I was doing, breastfeeding, all the things in between motherhood and building a business. So I really make sure that things are structured and systemized. And that's another thing. I thought it was just a me thing, but I've been watching this doctor on TikTok and I was like, oh, it's not just a me thing. It sounds like it's a dyslexic thing.
Oh,
But
okay.
apparently, if there has been some pieces found that if you say you train a dyslexic person on all these programs and they're like, I got it, good, 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 and you think you got it, and then you go away and you come back the next day, it's like, I didn't learn anything. And then people are like, well, weren't you paying attention? Like, are you dumb? Are you da-da-da, this, that, and that? And it's like, no, apparently it's a thing. And I was like, okay, but the good thing is that is creating checklists and SOPs. So if even though you're training me something really, and that's why I'm such an advocate for SOP, system operation procedures, if anyone doesn't know what SOPs are, sorry. It's really documenting the steps and the checklist on how to get something and visual cues too. And I always thought it was a me thing. So listening to that TikTok the other day, I was like, oh.
Validation. So is it like an absorption of information thing? Okay. That's interesting. I'd never heard about dyslexia described that way, because I think when people think dyslexia, or I do, you think about reading difficulty. You don't think about that piece as much. So
Yeah.
that is really important point.
I can read something over and over and over again sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't stick. And so like that's why when I did university, everyone would make fun of all my highlighters. I had notebooks, I had sticky notes, I had all the things to really support me. And so somebody could be done a project in like the 30 hours. Sometimes it could take me 150 hours. It's not that I need that luxury extra hour support. Like, it's because I need that extra time to process. I will get there at the end of the day and still get that A, but it's allowing me to process things differently so I can also absorb it.
Yeah. Well, I love that you found structures that worked for you and processes that worked for you and ways to organize yourself so that you could make it easier for yourself. And as you were talking, I was like, I need you to help me with those things, because as a solo entrepreneur who has no one working with them, it's been overwhelming keeping on top of email, keeping on top of people wanting to be on the podcast, keeping on top of who is an actual client versus what's a nice email versus what's spam. So, and trying to update my website myself. There's so many things to do in a day. And yeah,
it's hard.
It's something I'm struggling with right now.
It's definitely hard as mom entrepreneurs. Like, we're juggling motherhood and then building a business.
Yeah.
Those are two separate. I think I mentioned to you, I work from 9:30 and I have to do a hard stop at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I only like to work with clients who understand those boundaries, because I'm such a people pleaser and I feel guilty of all the things. And in essence is like, no. From the onboarding experience, I told you I work from 9:30 to 2. I don't work on weekends. My kids are my priority. So I built my business around the kids. And if you can't respect that, then you're not the right fit for me.
Totally. And having those expectations clear up front is so important to have for yourself, because we can all slip into those people pleasing things. And that's something too. Yeah. I could work all day because I enjoy it. I love it. It doesn't feel like work, but it's also not good for me or my family to be on my email all day. And I have content creation that's part of that too, because of hair loss and ways that clients find me. And it is definitely a hard balance sometimes. So those are all good lessons for me to think about more as I'm like trying to structure my life.
And I'll say this, that I'm not perfect. I'm still trying. I've had people be like, oh, you're killing it. Because that's what you see on social media, right? You don't see behind the scenes. And like we were just discussing, I was so sick. I was like, am I dying? Usually you can push through. But I was so sick with fevers of 40 a few weeks ago. And I had to order DoorDash because I couldn't even get out of bed. And that's, I think, what we as moms, parents, caregivers, because sometimes you're caregiving now, probably we're getting in that phase where sometimes you're caregiving for your parents.
Yep. Sandwich generation.
Exactly. So where can I give myself more grace? Because unfortunately, we live in a society of all the nice, shiny things that we see on social media. And like we're feeling like we're not keeping up with all of it. But really, we have to remind ourselves that, you know what? I did enough for today. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had the sickness I had a couple months ago. Same thing. I could not get out of bed, high fever, throwing up. This is the sickest I've ever been in my life. And I was also like, I think my husband was gone part of the time. So I was like screwed because my husband travels for work a lot. And I had to text friends and neighbors and be like, can you walk my kids to school? Can you pick my kids up? I had to call my mother-in-law. Can you bring food over? And I don't like to ask for help. So that was very difficult. But yeah, you have to recognize your own needs at some point. And I think also what you talked about with social media and people like, you're killing it. I get that a lot too. Like, oh, you're doing so great. Cause I've been happy and grateful to get covered by media and be on some podcasts and do some things. And yeah, but you don't see me working my ass off in the background, pitching myself. I got all those opportunities because I asked for them. I put myself out there. I did the work to get them. I'm proud of that. And I'm still not paying myself. I'm only a year and a half into my business. I am not profitable yet, right? So it may look like I'm killing it on the outside and I'm doing a lot of cool things and momentum is building. It's leading great places, but I'm not making a good income right now, right? So it is being careful not to compare yourself to people on social media that because they have this image out there, you think they're better than you or they're more successful than you or whatever. I think it's so important to share the real behind the scenes stuff. So I talk about on my stories and in my reels, sometimes I'm going to therapy. I have childhood trauma. I don't have a perfect life, right? I've worked really hard to be happy in my life and to get past some things, but nobody has a perfect life. And I think the sooner we really realize that and accept that, the more pressure we take off ourselves.
100%.
Yeah. So you describe the feeling of functioning on the outside, but falling apart on the inside, which I think is relevant to what we just talked about. What did that season of postpartum and early motherhood really look like for you when you were going through that?
Yeah. I did not leave my house.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was actually quite excited for Hudson to be born during COVID season because I didn't know what was going to happen with my second, to be honest. But with my first, it was a struggle. I didn't leave the house. It was to the point where, like, because I had a midwife, they referred me to the health unit here, and I had to work with some nurses, and I would come to, I can't remember what it was called, to be honest, but like a circle for people who are struggling with postpartum depression.
Like a support community.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was in there for maybe 2 years. I don't know if a lot of people really know that, but I was like with breastfeeding. I hated going in public because unfortunately we are shamed as moms when you breastfeed. It feels
Absolutely.
like there's never a happy medium. And really, if your kid's eating whatever, like, but I remember like I already have anxiety on a good day. So that trickled the notion there. And then when I was building the business, I felt like I was barely surviving. We talked a bit about that. Well, I'm trying to find clients here and then do this here. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. And it just felt like it was one thing after another. But I definitely made sure to like get extra help, support. I really struggled myself to ask though for some help at the beginning. But when I realized that I needed the help, that's when I would like reach out more to my husband's mom, and they would come and watch my first kiddo at the time. And then with the second, I don't know, to be honest, if I really had postpartum with my second, but it was during COVID. So I didn't ever have to leave.
And I feel like everybody had anxiety during COVID, but I definitely had postpartum anxiety that I didn't recognize till after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had a decent support system to get me through it. But it's definitely, looking back on it, it would have been nice, I guess, to see a little bit more. I think we're talking about it more, but it would be nice to see the conversations in group. I removed myself from one of the Facebook groups because they actually really attacked one of my friends. And I was like, this is like a supportive mom community. Why are you tearing her down? She's just asking one little question.
Yeah.
And so it's really important. I've learned over the years as a mom and all the things is really connect yourself with positive energy people to help. Because if you're depressed too, you're struggling too. So if you're with another really low energy person, it's hard to bring yourself up. So I've learned that even just now, I'm not suffering from depression now, but it's just, I want to be with high vibing people to bring my energy up too.
Totally. Well, so I deal with anxiety. I'm diagnosed anxiety. I'm on medication for it. Lexapro, it's called in the States, escitalopram, it's called in Canada. Huge fan. I've been on it for, I think it's coming up on 3 years. But man, I fought going on medication so hard because of the shame and the stigma around having a mental illness and having to medicate. And oh my God, I dealt with insomnia for years because I tried everything. I tried exercise. I tried gummies. I tried all the things. There's melatonin, prescription sleep meds, just all the things, therapy, meditation, and nothing helped. And finally I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I need more help. And I felt so embarrassed at first. And then once I was on it a couple weeks and I actually started sleeping again, I was like, holy shit, why didn't I do this 3 years ago? And now I talk so much about it because I think it's really important because there still is a stigma around having depression or anxiety. No, it's just your brain works a little differently. And I've been through a lot of trauma. So that's just unfortunately how it's manifested for me. And it is what it is. And I own it and I know what I need to do now. And medication has been a huge help for me. So I want to see that stigma die for sure.
Yeah. And jumping on that too, I know I've been asked, actually my kid's pediatrician, because she can see like I have a lot of anxiety. And that comes a lot with the neurodiversity.
Yes.
And she's like, you should try it and do X, Y, and Z, because when your kids get older, then it's kind of, I was like, oh, you're using me as a test. I get it now.
Super.
But like maybe that could help, because that's like where I feel like even myself, this start to spiral. And then that's a lot too, the depression too, the combo.
Yeah, for me, it was a lot of restless thoughts. My brain would never be quiet and I couldn't sit still. It's helped a lot with both of those things. So yeah, I'm a huge advocate of it. And I can see it in my oldest daughter. She's got some anxiety already at 9. And so I'm like, oh, that's from me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl. But I'll know how to help her. Right. So And I didn't have that growing up. So I think it'll be a more positive experience, hopefully, for her. But let's talk about how there's so much pressure to feel grateful as a mom, even when you're struggling. So can you talk about that tension and how it contributed to your shame?
I think, well, just going back to social media, like what we were just talking about, that a lot a lot of people are like, oh, you have a family, you have all these things, you should be grateful, and you actually get to do your business. And then if you pull away in one area, you shouldn't not feel grateful about that. This is a combo effect at the end of the day. Um, and it's hard too to show up as like drop offs, pickups, appointments, all these things in between. I know I still feel guilty, more or less, if I have to move something around in business, even though I'm trying to support the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's finding that it's quieting the noise, just like imposter syndrome. It's all about really figuring out how your mind works and what works for you. Because one thing might work. We talked about trauma with money, and what we like to talk about is how you quiet the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And one nervous system doesn't look the same to the other. And it's really what works for you. So for me, there's the EFT tapping, for example.
Yep.
A lot of people love to do that. I personally like to do the breathing,
Yep.
hold in, out, and look around me and take a minute and just really reset my brain. Because I feel like we as moms, as parents, we have so much pressure on ourselves. We're already our own worst clients, I like to say, for ourselves when we're building a business.
Yeah.
So what are we as a mom parent? We really attack ourselves when
Mm-hmm.
really we're doing so amazing. And sometimes we don't have those people in our wheelhouse to be like, you're doing amazing. You're great.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had somebody randomly, we're at Subway, and she's like, I remember when my kids were that young. You're doing amazing, Mom. I was like,
Oh,
I was
I
kind
love
of
those people.
right. I was taken back. You don't really see that in society.
No,
But I wish we did that more.
totally. And I've had that a few times from strangers too. And it's like, you have no idea how much that made my day. I think it's such a small thing that somebody could be thinking and doesn't say because they're like, oh, that's silly. They'll
Yeah.
always say that to the mom,
Yeah.
always, or the dad. It matters. And I was just talking to my husband about this because I went to therapy yesterday because I started EMDR. And my therapist I think she's almost 60. So she's older than me and a motherly type figure. And I did not have a good mother figure. So I was not told growing up, you're doing a good job. I'm proud of you, that kind of stuff. And I went in and we're doing our intake to get ready for MDR. I'm telling her all my history and she's asking me all these questions about what I do. And she was like, wait a minute. So you have 2 kids under 10, you have a dog, your husband travels a lot, you're running a small business, and she was listing all these things. How do you do all of that? You're amazing. And I was like, thank you. It was so nice to just be validated and given some kind, compliments. Oh, I didn't realize how much I needed that. That really made me feel good because my husband, of course, is supportive and thinks I'm doing a good job. But even he said, I realize I don't tell you enough, like how proud I am of you and how what you're doing is awesome because I think it, but I think that's just normal for you. And yeah, I expect so much of myself and I'm so driven and I'm always like, I could do more. I could do more. But it's like also just sitting back and going, I'm doing a lot and I'm keeping a lot of balls in the air and I'm doing a great job. And it's okay to rest once in a while. I'm still learning that it's okay to rest once in a while. If you're tired on a Friday, maybe take the Friday off or the afternoon off. It's okay. It'll be there Monday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've learned to do that. I've gotten a lot better. But when I first started the business, I was working weekends. I was working till 10 o'clock at night, all the things. And then I would feel guilty if I wasn't. And every now and then I still get that guilt, but it's how we switch the mind. Our mind is a powerful thing. So how do we quiet it when those little voices come up? Going back to imposter syndrome, it's always going to kind of creep up in different ways. It's finding the means for us to be like, no, I'm rocking it. Yeah. I think we live in such a busy society that sometimes, even though we're thinking it, sometimes we forget to actually voice it. And so I challenge everybody out there. Next time you see a mom or a dad or a caregiver, just say that they're doing amazing.
Yeah.
It does brighten their day.
It does. And we're going to have a separate coffee chat about all this stuff because I feel like I talked to you about this forever.
Yes.
So, and I think it leads into the next question, well, about women feeling like a personal failure and that being a systemic issue. So can you expand on that and how that realization shifted things for you?
Yeah, I'm still a work in progress. I feel like I will never master it. I think it's just more or less naming it when we see it and challenging the narrative. Is it true that I'm a failure? Is it true that I just suck as a mom? Is it true? It's just really calling it out. I'm like, no, I show up for my kids. No, I show up and I do X, Y, and Z. No, right now I feel kind of guilty because I feel like I'm not doing enough sports.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, my one kid's in speech therapy 2 times a week. That's a lot of work. And then my other, I have her in counseling because she was bullied in grade 1. And so I'm making sure she has those ways and support systems other than myself or my husband that she knows how great counseling can be and supportive it is, therapy or whatever you need. And it's okay to ask for help and build that around you. And so to me right now, those are 2 important things because I want to make sure that their foundations feel strong.
Yeah.
And I know we can probably fit in sports in a few months, but I'm trying to remind myself, you have a lot on your plate right now. We have speech therapy every few weeks, but now you have this coming down the pipeline. It's finding that balance. And they're probably going to be completely tired too. So it's finding that balance. And then again, going back to the mind of you're doing enough. And I think it's we as society, we are shown that we're not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I always say it's a systematic issue because on social media, all these things, it shows, oh, well, you should be in hockey, swimming, all these things. And yeah, swimming is good for life skill.
Yes.
But don't challenge me there. I don't disagree. But it's finding the means of everything in the in-between too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm going to take this moment to say you're doing a great job because what you're doing for your kids with the speech therapy and the counseling for the bullying, that is really putting your kids' needs and emotions and life skills first. And sports will always be there. But those things are foundational and those are really important and good for you. Good mamaing to do that. That's really awesome. Each of my kids are a year older than each of your kids. And we're just now getting into sports for my youngest, who's 6. She actually has her first baseball game tomorrow and she's very excited. But my oldest kid is not into group sports. She's not into that. She loves gaming and Minecraft and drawing, and she's very creative, but in that way. Whereas my younger kid is very extroverted, very social, wants to do all the things, wants to be in soccer. And we held off because, one, it's so much when we're all so busy to devote a whole weekend to sports. It's not cheap either. You have to take it in the financial picture. And spending time with our kids when they're young and they still want to be around us. So we're just getting into that. So you've got time. You've totally got time.
Like, don't come near me. Get out of my room.
Right? Yeah. And I feel like we're going to get there soon with my 9.5-year-old. So let's enjoy the time, right?
Yeah. Right. I was just going to say, going back to giving ourselves grace and not feeling guilty, I think is so important. I almost wonder, or not wonder, I challenge everyone is just putting like sticky notes on their mirror or anything that they really struggle with, the mind shift that's really always throwing you back, and how we can shift that narrative to something that's going to bring you to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there a certain moment where you realized, like, I can't keep doing things the same way I've been doing? I need to make a change?
Yes, I'm a yes person. So, prime example, last year, I think you learn every year, every season, something new about yourself, every month, and so forth. So, last year, I was really adamant to step more in my speaking, for example, and I flew to Vancouver 3 times, and I realized that's just too much. And I think it's really about noticing when you're pushing the limits and pushing yourself to burnout, because we who are neurodivergent, we end up going really hard, even moms, we're doing all the things, and we can push ourselves to burnout really fast. And it's really knowing and recognizing when those do show up for you. Because I know I push myself a lot, and I can see it time. And then so this year I made an executive decision for myself of like, you know what? You don't need to go to Vancouver. You can find speaking gigs here in Victoria. So now, and then even just sometimes challenging myself. I'm like, no, I won't. But then, like, going to be on that panel. I might be at Startup Canada. Yeah, there's another one. Oh, I'm going up to Nanaimo. So I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you also create your own opportunities when you start thinking outside the box, right? And looking for local stuff and not just like chasing, the bigger city stuff. There's plenty of local things going on. I mean, you live in the capital. So,
Yeah.
of British Columbia, for those who don't know. So, we talked earlier about you building systems like the intake form, the funnels, to, work with your brain instead of against it. Are there any other practical examples that have genuinely helped you?
Oh my goodness. I think I learned a lot about myself. There's prime example. Have you ever heard that book that you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful?
No, and I would never read that because I am not a morning person. So I would fail that. But no, that sounds awful.
I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it's like 5 a.m. to be, it
It
might
does
be that name.
sound, yeah, it does sound familiar, something with 5 a.m. in the title. Yeah.
A long time ago, like I hired a coach. They were like mastering this book, and they gave me a timesheet of all the things that I need to do at 5 a.m. And I remember being like, girl, I'm breastfeeding. I am not sleeping. I don't have a schedule. I like my sleep when I can sleep. If they're sleeping, I'm sleeping if I can, or I'll find something else. And I just like to push back on things that sometimes what looks like define success.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can define our own success. And it's really thinking about what success means to you.
Yeah.
And so going back to the time schedule piece, like I have learned that I don't find a flow. I hyper focus on things. I'm really good at hyper focusing, but I have to mentally prepare my brain of, oh, Britt, you're doing a marketing pitch at this time, and do more of a buffer than just an hour. Because sometimes if I'm super hyper focused, and especially with ADHD, sometimes I flow in between projects. I'm mindful that sometimes I need that, but then also a checklist to make sure that I feel like I'm moving the needle.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I don't like it right static in my calendar because it gives me anxiety. And then also I feel like I failed because I didn't fit into that box.
Yeah.
I'm still learning my means of what I like, what I don't like, and I'm adjusting when I get older too.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at the ferries at Blackball, and I used to work at a fishing resort. I'm like, I have done my time.
Yeah, you
Working at
have.
4 a.m.
Oh, awful. Awful. That's never going to happen for me. I have all these like grand plans that a couple times a week I'm going to get up early and work out before I get my kids ready. And I'm like, no, because I am a late night person and I stay up until 11 or 11:30 most nights because it's my revenge, for my kids going to bed late. That's the only alone time I have to like watch some stupid reality show where I can turn my brain off. And yeah, so that's just not at this point in my life working for me, and that's okay. So you talked a little bit about, your time blocking, your boundaries of being upfront with your clients about the hours that you work, which I think is super important. Are there other boundaries you put in place to protect your mental health and support the life you're building?
I'm always crafting things as I go. I always tell clients to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, why aren't you doing it then, Brittney?
Yeah. Yeah.
I push myself back on that question sometimes. But what I've done recently was because I felt like I have OCD in my inbox.
Mm-hmm.
Like it needs to be almost at zero, or everybody needs to be responded into a 24-hour kind of piece. You've probably seen how fast sometimes I respond to you. It's just something I've always dealt with, even when I worked a 9 to 5. I don't know what it is, but I am obsessed with my inbox. And so I've learned, and I'm still learning, that it's okay not to respond right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay that you can have those buffers. And so what I've done is put an out of office on that states, I'm busy working with clients one-on-one. I'm in X, Y, and Z. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If anyone responds to or sends me an email, you're still important to me, but right now I'm doing X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps put that boundary versus me, because I don't like bringing up confrontation or why didn't you respond to that email? And it's like a little nice buffer.
Totally. And I've gotten that email from you when I've sent you something, and I love that. And I actually really need to do that for myself because my inbox has gotten a lot busier, and I am the same where I feel pressure to respond right away. And if I haven't responded in a day, I feel really bad. I'm like, sorry for the delay. And I'm like, stop saying that. Women, I feel like we're so programmed. If we make anybody wait for more than a few hours, sorry for the delay. Sorry for the delay. No, I'm busy. I have a life. I have a lot of people I'm working with. You're important to me, absolutely. And I am doing this all on my own, and I'm going to need a few, a few days to get back to you. But it's I struggle with that too. And the out of office is such a good idea. And yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yes. And you know what? I'm in this other group, and it's everybody emails, like in a group email, mass emails of like they're looking for work or do you know anyone? And it emails everybody. And so my out of office goes on, and it's like free promotion of like, oh, who's Brittney?
Yeah. Especially when you're a solopreneur, you can't do it all at once.
I seriously wish I would have done it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember around Christmas time, I was at my pushing point. I felt like everybody was unhappy. Christmas was coming. Everybody was just in a negative space. It felt we're hitting deadlines. We're doing all the things above and beyond, but it just felt like it wasn't enough. And that's when I put my out of office on. And that's when I found the change too in them.
Mm.
Oh, because like, unfortunately, a lot of people think we're your assistant. I was
Yeah.
like, no. If you go to a website firm, there is a production queue. So it's not that you're not important, but we'll get to you. I can't just always drop what I'm doing because it also loses your train of thought too when you're in the middle of things.
And that person emailing you has no idea how many other people have emailed you that you're trying to get back to too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So for the woman listening who feels like she's failing, whether it's in motherhood, work, or both, what would you want her to hear right now?
That you are enough and to give yourself grace.
Yeah. I think that's so important. It's simple, and we don't really give that to ourselves enough. Like, everybody who's listening out there, I guarantee, is doing their absolute best and still feeling like it's not enough. And we have to start giving ourselves more credit and more grace as women for all the things we're expected to hold. I'm going to butcher this quote, but there's some quote out there: as women, we're expected to work like we aren't mothers and to mother like we don't work. And it's so true. Men are not held to that same standard. And it's unfortunately not changing as quickly as it should be. So we have to hold that for ourselves and push back.
Yes. And push back. Give yourself permission to push back.
Yep.
And it's not because you're a bee. I don't know if we can swear on here.
You can absolutely swear on here. Yes.
Or whichever people want to classify you as.
Or difficult.
Mm-hmm. You are putting the boundaries to protect your own space and your own energy.
Yep. And if any man did the same thing, they would be looked at as, they'd be respected for it.
Exactly.
Yep. Which is bullshit.
Yes.
Yes. Do you still experience, I think I know the answer, but I want to ask if you still experience imposter syndrome now. We just talked about how it's still coming up. So what do you do differently when it shows up now, though?
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I took my course with Dr. Valerie Young. I actually wrote my business certification on imposter syndrome and how it shows up in motherhood and all the things. And so I found Dr. Valerie Young, who just researches imposter syndrome over her decades.
Oh, I need to look her up.
To learn alongside her. I did 2 courses back to back with her. And only one day in, and I was like, oh, I like that I took this course to just figure out I have imposter syndrome. There's 5 different ways. There's the perfectionist, like I said, who's always like needing to be perfect. If you're not perfect, then you feel like a failure. There's the stylist who's scared to ask for help. If you ask for help, then you're an imposter. There's the superhuman, superwoman that has to do all the things. I think we as moms can see ourselves a lot in that. And then if you're not doing it to the standard, then you're not going to feel like you're good enough. And the imposter syndrome comes in. The expert, like I said, you have to have all these certifications. Um, that's me because I was told that I was dumb at a young age. So I feel like having these certifications is a thing for me to be like, I'm not dumb. Look at this. I got this degree. I got this certification over here, here, here. For me, like
Mm-hmm.
that's my validation in
Your
a way.
proof.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more, and I can't remember it at the top of my head. But in essence, it's knowing and naming it for myself. Oh, this is where the perfectionist is coming in. Oh, this is where the expert coming in. I'm doing a Harvard course, and I actually was looking at doing another one to get a certification. And I had a friend be like, "Do you need that certificate?" But I want it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just want it, so I have it. It's nice and pretty. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it still shows up to the day. But it's learning how to name it and learning how to kind of like I've had clients name it like, oh, Fred is coming in for me. Like I can really see them talking to me downly of like I can't.
Mm.
So it's naming it and then how you quiet the noise. And if you really master it, it will still show up time to time. It's just how we really use our mind to quiet the noise.
I feel like I'm a combo of all of those that you talked about. Is that bad?
Yeah, I think we as moms, to be honest, like I would
Yeah.
love to see more of a case study and more of like science data behind that because
Mm-hmm.
I did a presentation on this and I even said to them, like, I feel like we're like the all the things.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I definitely relate to the do you really need another certificate or another training, right? Because as I've now decided to be an entrepreneur, which I never thought I would do, how do I prove to clients and to the world that I'm good enough, that I know what I'm talking about, that they should work with me? It's the constant battle of no, I have all this life experience and I have all this healthcare experience, and I don't need to go get this additional coaching certificate and this additional thing right now. If I choose to down the line because I want to, great. But with what I'm doing right now, I don't really have to, and I'm still good enough and I'm still helping people. But it is hard to not feel like you need to prove, well, I have this, and this training, so that makes me good enough.
And I
Yeah.
think unfortunately we as women, again going back to society, look at the pay gap.
Mm-hmm.
Look at men are more likely to apply for that job on LinkedIn than the most qualified woman.
100%. Was it like 30% that men would meet and they would still, and women would have to meet every criteria to apply? And I've definitely been that woman.
Yes,
Oh, I fit 8 of the 10. I can't apply. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. Oh, we have work to do.
Yeah.
So, what does shedding the shame mean to you at this stage of your life?
Hmm. I think overall, shedding the shame is really telling myself is that I'm not behind or not enough. It's just really coming to peace on that because we in society, I think we're just always honed into that we are not enough and that we are behind. Um, so it's just coming more in the piece of it and then understanding that a label doesn't define me and that I'm really am capable to fully step into my own power and really again building a community around me that supports me energy wise. I can't remember this quote. It's from Taylor Swift. You might know it.
I do. I am a Swiftie. I do love Taylor
You
Swift, so I might know it.
are. So it's the energy one where your
Oh,
energy
yeah.
is luxury, it's expense.
Mm-hmm.
Bring think of your energy as kind of like if it's a Prada bag or whichever, you want to hang out with the people that bring you up than the
Mm-hmm.
ones that bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
And really stepping into that energy field. And that's something that I've been trying to do a lot more and being mindful. I removed myself from this network networking group because I just felt like the energy, the women were not as supportive as they say they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be in this room and pay for this membership if we're not supportive. And I love supporting women. So I was just not in my value space as well and really stepping into what that is and what that means to myself and activating on it too.
Yeah, good for you. And I'm trying to think of the quote too. She talks about how your energy is expensive and
Yeah.
how not everybody deserves it, or, something
Not
like that.
everyone can afford it.
Yeah, not everyone can afford it. I love that quote. I love her. I think she's such a badass. And
I love her.
Just stands up for herself, has always been like, this is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for it. And I'm not going to let some man put me down. I love her. And I think she's such a great role model for young women and for me, who's older than her. So,
well, she does X, Y, and Z, like just for any celebrities. We don't know celebrities.
no.
You see this pretty picture or you see the negative news. It's just kind of being mindful of what you see in media and how you process it and challenge those narratives.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know people if they're not our friends. So how are you to make a judgment that you like them or not like them if you don't know them? What did they ever do to you? So anyways, I'm a full, like, I love Taylor Swift. I love what she does. She's a great artist, role model, like all the things above.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think too, keeping in mind that as women who are powerful in society, celebrities, they are a target a lot of times for slander, for rumors, for things to bring them down. And she has definitely been somebody who people have tried to victimize. And so I think that's something too. We have to be really careful when you see negative news about a female celebrity. Like, where are you looking? Who's writing that? Where are you consuming that news from? Is it really real? Or is it an attempt to put that woman in her place because she's too loud?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah.
How does that one person affect you on
Exactly.
your day?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No.
No.
Let them live their life. And, for her, especially, she is doing a lot of positive things in the world. And if Taylor Swift ever listens to this, which she will not, we love you, Tay-Tay.
You never know.
You go live your dream.
We'll put it in the universe.
Yeah.
This, and then we're going to be invited to the concert, manifesting it.
Yeah, I went to her last concert. My seats were terrible. I bought the ticket that day. I was like halfway behind the stage. I could still see her when she came to one side of the stage, right? But I was there and I enjoyed it, even with my crappy seats. So that says something. Well, thank you so much, Brittney, for this conversation. I really enjoyed it. I think it was really, really important for a number of topics that we discussed. And yeah, I could talk to you for a long time. So we're going to have to set up a separate coffee date.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited and happy to be here. I was looking forward to our conversation today, Tammy. And then you're coming on the radio show. So we're going to continue it over there.
Yes. And yeah, Brittney has her radio show. Can you say what the name of it is so people can look for it?
Yeah, it's called Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. And in essence, it is that we are all worthy of whoever we are and whatever dreams we want to pursue. And we break down societal norms.
Amazing. Well, I'm really excited to be on that too. And it's live, so I'll be a little nervous. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us today. And we'll be back for another episode in a few weeks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for being here and for listening to another powerful conversation on shedding the shame. If something in today's episode resonated with you, I want you to sit with that. Let it land. Let it remind you that whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it quietly. Shame survives in silence. Healing begins when we speak. If this episode moved you, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Start the conversation. Send the text. Have the brave talk. And if you're ready to stop whispering about your own story, keep coming back. These conversations are just getting started. Until next time, keep telling the truth, keep taking up space, and keep shedding the shame.